Everybody. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to be here. Yes, I'm the author of 8 books. I actually have 4. My latest 4 is sitting right here with me. All of them are available on Amazon as well. And so, yes, like Elizabeth was saying, I am a multi-hyphenate. So I am an actress. I do modeling as well. I'm a voice actress. I'm an author. I'm a minister. I'm the co-host of our podcast. Our family podcast is called Life with the Rankins, a conversation on faith, family, and film. Our family is full of creatives. And so we're actors, producers. So we just love the creative arts. And so that's what we do. I'm also a momager. We have 4 children, and 3 of our 4 children are in the industry. And so we've been really blessed to be super busy lately because our youngest son, his name is Braylon, he's actually playing young Mufasa in the upcoming Disney movie, The Lion King Mufasa. So that's been very exciting for us as well, going through that experience. And so even though I'm the author of 8 books, today, the book that I would like to talk to everyone about is my book called He Kept His Promise. How do you stand on the legs of God? How do you stand on the word of God when your legs of faith are broken? And that book is my testimony. The different things that I went through up until the time that I wrote it. And so in the book, I talk about when I was younger, being raised in a house of domestic violence. From there, when I was 21, my first husband, we got married young. We were high school sweethearts. He passed from cancer. So that was very, very devastating and one of the lowest parts of my life. However, it put me in position to meet God. And so I was able to find a relationship with the Lord. He brought me through that. About 7 years later, I met my husband that I'm with now. His name is Thomas. And we got married. And shortly after we got married, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And so again, I was just very devastated, like, no, Lord, not again. But I had a choice to make because I told God the first time that he brought me through that no matter what, I wasn't going to leave. So I had a choice. Either I could give up and that'd be the end of it. Like literally give up because I was really depressed. I was in a very low place. Or I could give in and allow God to just basically have his way. And that's what I decided to do. Because back when I was 21, honestly, I couldn't see a future for myself. I felt very outcast. Like I looked around and I saw nobody else my age that was a widow. And I'm like, who becomes a widow? I thought I must be cursed. I must be thought all these horrible things. The enemy was telling me a whole bunch of lies. And at that point, I was embracing them. However, God didn't let it be so. And so the fact that he rescued me from that portion of my life and the depth of lowness that I was in, I decided to give my life to God and to live for God. And so I just basically detail that in the book. After my husband and I got married, we began to have children. And with our last child, she was born premature. She has something called jejunal atresia. She has severe blockage in her intestines. And so I went prematurely into labor with her. She spent the first 7 months in the hospital. She had to have 3 major surgeries. She was on a ventilator 3 times. Her name is Brielle, and we named her Brielle because it means God is my might. We didn't know when we named her that her life would literally be her testimony. And so from there, I chart that in the book, and I take readers into the story with us. And showed how God kept his promise. Because when I wrote that book, that was my second book. My first book was a chat book. I'm also a poet. I don't know if I said that, but I used to do a lot of spoken word. And I used to get a lot of catharsis and healing through writing. And so I would do a lot of writing. And so I held back a lot when I wrote that book because my testimony at the time, it was just really painful. And I felt embarrassed. Shameful about things that weren't my fault, had nothing to do with me. Again, that was the enemy. And so I had somebody come speak a word to me and he said, God said the first book is really good, But this second book, this is where you're gonna take people behind the veil. This is when you're gonna tell your story. And I was thinking like, what you talking about? Like, I thought I was about to write some fiction books. So when he came to me with this heavy word, I was like, I don't know about that. And then shortly after, I was at a conference. And while watching the conference, it was a marriage conference that we had went to. And I just began to see the words, he kept his promise. And so I was like, I told my husband, I said, I think I got the title of my next book. And so, yeah, that's how the title had came to, he kept his promise, because Brielle, she was in the same hospital that my first husband had passed in. And for me, after going through that, that was just a really devastating experience. And so even writing about it, the doctors at the time said that they were going to do some things that they did not do. The Make-A-Wish Foundation was involved. There were certain things that they were supposed to do. However, after he passed, they came and said, we're sorry. This paperwork was filed too late. It's nothing that we can't do that. And so it was just like, I feel like devastating is not even a good enough word, but it was just really a devastating experience. And so, yeah, the fact that she was in that hospital, and she was on the same floor, because even though I was 21, I was a year older than him. So he was on a pediatric floor. And so the fact that she even ended up in that hospital, I kept praying because I was dealing with a lot of panic attacks and different things. And so one of my mentors was like, pray and ask God, why did he bring you back to this place? And when I did, God told me that he brought me back to my place of pain to heal me. And so as Brielle got better, and when she got out the hospital, and as that book came into fruition, I said, he kept his promise. And so the rest of that, how do you stand on the word of God when your legs of faith are broken? I felt like I was completely broken in my faith prior to coming to that point, and God restored me. And so that's where the title had came from. One of my brothers, he's in the faith and he's an elder, and he said, well, but Brand, that doesn't really make sense as it relates to theology. You talking about legs of faith and brokenness. And I said, yeah, I don't know about that. But what I do know is that God is the author and finisher of our faith. And so based on that, I looked at it like bones. He's a healer. And so I know just like bones, he can heal them. He healed my faith. And so, yeah, when she got out the hospital, because when we took her home, it wasn't like they just discharged her. My husband had got a word from the Lord and said it was done when she was 7 months. And they were like, well, we don't think she should go because she wasn't thriving. She couldn't handle more than a teaspoon of milk. It was like they were just testing things out. And when my husband got the word, I said, okay, that's what it is. And so when we brought her home, shortly after, she began to grow. I gave her more milk than what they said that she could have, because they wanted me to just give her a teaspoon of milk, and I was willing to be obedient. I'm like, okay. And then my father was like, because she just kept crying. He was like, but Brandy, she's hungry. She's hungry. Feed that baby. And as I did, she began to grow. She began to thrive. When we would visit her, she was in the NICU for 4 months, and then she was in a rehab for 3 months. I would go see my baby. She wasn't like how babies, they pant and they smile and they get excited. She didn't do that. She would just be there. It just seemed like she was just really sad. And as she got better and I brought her home and I was feeding her and praying over her, she began to thrive and she just came to life. We brought her home. She just came to life. And I said, he kept his promise. You know, there's a scripture too that tells us that God is not like man. He's not slack concerning his promises. And yeah, so basically God, he was just outlining things for me, and he showed me, he proved himself to me in that experience. And so the least I could do was to write a book about it. And so, yeah. And today, Brielle, she looks nothing like she's gone through. A lot of children who deal with the same thing, they have problems growing. Their heads are bigger than their bodies and other things. Nope, not Brielle. She has so many deficiencies when we brought her home. We didn't stand on those deficiencies though. Like, of course we gave her what she needed, but it was just a faith walk. We prayed, we believed, and yeah, just seeing her today. Like a lot of times, honestly, I get emotional. I'm an emotional person anyway. They be like, oh mom, I do. I get emotional because I'm like, you just don't know, honey. Like, I know you don't remember, but I do. Like, God reminds me through you that he's a promise keeper. He's a way maker. I mean, I'm gonna stop right there because then I'll really just go in. But he's just that good. He is just that good. And today, she's acting. She's been in her first movie. She got her second one coming out. We're waiting for the release date of that. And yeah, I mean, God is just using her and our family for such a time as now. So it's an honor to even be able to talk about it. So yeah.
Show us the books. Yeah, show us the books. And are they available on Amazon, or do they have to go to your website? Where can people buy the books?
Sure. So the book that I was talking about today, he kept his promise. It is on Amazon. I know they were running low. I'm also going to put it out on my site. So I will send that out to you too for like digital downloads too. That way it can be an ebook for any and everybody who wants to, purchase it and read it, because I definitely want to share with as many people as possible. The other books that I just have sitting on my lap today. So this is a devotion that I did for men. It's called Heart of a Warrior, a prayer journal for men of God. And so I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is on Amazon too. And I'll definitely send you all the links. When you go to Amazon, if you put in Brandy Wine Rankings, you'll see all my books. And so like both of these books, I did them as a pair. So one for the women
Okay.
and one for the men. So this is called Faithful and Fearless, a prayer journal for women. And so this is where you see her
Oh,
right
that's
here.
beautiful too. Yes.
Thank you.
Beautiful covers. Yes.
Thank you so much. And then this one right here, I did I, I did
Chastity.
my first I did my first coloring book. This is a mental health coloring and activity book. And I did this for Brielle. So with Brielle, this is called Catch the Tea with Bree, Brookie, and the 4C. And so with this book that I did, I'm a mental health advocate. And so even when I shared about going through anxiety attacks or different things like that, I just believe in supporting people in the mental health arena. And so coloring is something that helps reduce stress and so many things. And so in this book, where it says Bree, that's her nickname, Brielle, nickname is Bree. And then Brookie, after I had Brielle, we had a miscarriage and her name would have been Brooke. And so I brought Brookie the idea of her just for this coloring book because I did this for Brielle's birthday. And so like even to show you guys just some of the pictures and stuff that I have inside. I have like a lot of youth.
Yeah.
I have like a lot of youth and stuff in here. I have check-ins. They're like going for Brielle's party. So they're like at the amusement park and different things like that. And so like
Yeah, yeah.
even with the check-ins, I put in here on purpose. There's like so much going on today with our youth. And I just believe a lot of times too, they need just the right platform to be able to speak, to share. And so this book checks in on them too. So they don't just get the color. They also get to check in, and not just the teenagers too, because there's a lot of adults that color as well. So overall, like anybody who wants to participate in a book that has like mental health check-ins, a check-in on you, allow you to journal. I have pages for journaling in here. So it just gives you a variety. So that's what that book is. And then for the acting, I did a journal for the acting. This is called From Audition to Applause, my acting journal. And so because we're in the acting industry, I wanted to encourage other actors to be able to write their visions down, their goals down. I'm a believer that you will have what you speak. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And so I put just different prompts in here. I put different things from famous actors in here as a way to motivate them, different quotes. I put calendars in here so that way they can make goals and they can write it down, check in and see how they're progressing with their goals and things like that. Even when it comes to acting, what inspires you? Who is your favorite actor? Who is the best actor to you? And so, yeah, so this book encompasses that, to be able to motivate other people to act and pick up their careers and go forward in it. Because of what we've been blessed to do, it's really important for us to encourage and inspire other people. So that's pretty much what these books that I have today I'm holding are about. But yes, they're all available on Amazon. And my testimony, he kept his promise, that will be available on ebook. I'm gonna try to get it up this weekend. So I'll definitely send you a link to that one too, because on Amazon it was running really, really low. So
That is fantastic. What a great selection of books. Listen, if you're watching this on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere, get the whole collection. It's nice and big, and it'll make a great Christmas or a Hanukkah or any holiday that you'll be celebrating. And by the way, I think that Thanksgiving is a great time to give people books, because when you get into December and you're giving all the big things, but Thanksgiving is like this family time, and I know some people give ornaments or chocolates, but a book is another great idea. Or if you go to someone's holiday party, you could do this to the host. So Discover Brightside has a literacy goal, and I'm serious. We want more people to read, and we feel like what better way than to get books with authors that you know, because you've seen them on our show. And so we want you to start your book collections in your libraries and give people books, so we get people to read more. I'm not against the audiovisual and the video industry, because I do videos, but I want people to read more, and that's why we have the book club to encourage people to read. And today is actually the last of the book club series for the year, and this is actually because we were going to have S.M. Stevens, Susan, to do her book, and so we put this extra event just for her, because she wasn't able to come to our book club last month. And so here she is, and I'm so glad she's here. And I want to thank Brandy for that wonderful presentation. And we'll make sure that your books, Brandy, are available on our book holiday collection and our recommended list. And then we want you to come back. We will have lots of events, but they're going to be more of varieties. We'd have food and wine and cheese and all kinds of other things as well besides books. So our next event is November the 18th. We'll have, we just won't have just book authors. We'll have everyone together. And then in December, we'll have 2 events. And please come for our big holiday open house, where we have authors and everyone. And we have tons of prizes. So if you come, you will win a prize. And the prize sponsors that we have Mighty Delicious. It's a gluten-free flour, and they have cookies as well. So for those of you who want to be healthy this holiday season, you want to hear their story, and you want to win one of their cookies or whatever prize they will be giving. The second sponsor is Stepped Coffee, and it's a single-serve coffee that you can just dip into hot water and enjoy a cup of coffee without having to go to your coffee machine and the whole 9 yards. We also have an author who's given us several books, 2 climates, one real, one imaginary. He's a 50-year U.S. Armed Force veteran. And we have a $100 gift certificate for some amazing skin care products. And so as we come closer to the holidays, we're going to have more and more gifts. So the more times you attend, write comments, write reviews, because that's what we do. If you do buy Brandy or S.M. Stevens' book, and you do write a review and send me an email or a message on Facebook and say, here's my review, and you show me your review, you will be entered to win. So we want you to do as much as you can. Write reviews, like posts, enjoy this video, share it, subscribe. So when you do these activities, we will enter you to win. So make sure you pay attention, because we have some really good prizes this holiday season, 2024. So without further ado, I want to bring in my next author. And as I said before, we were lucky to have Brandy. I talked to her today, and she joined us today. But this is really for you, your beautiful book, Beautiful and Terrible Things. And you could read my review, which is available everywhere on all sites that we post reviews on. So over to you, S.M. Stevens. Tell us about this wonderful book, Beautiful and Terrible Things. And for those of you who are on social media, it's all about conversations and people, and this is just a fun book to read. So over to you.
Okay, hi everyone, and thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you for having me and for posting the review already. That's great. I have to say to Brandy, wow, you're an inspiration. What an incredible journey, and congratulations to your son. That's amazing about the movie.
Wow, thank you so much, Susan. I really appreciate that.
And I'm going to just stop the video for